Hello, welcome to part 3 of getting started with AWS's EC2. In part 1, we made our EC2 instance. In part 2, we SSH'd into our EC2 instance. And in part 3, we're going to be installing Anaconda. Part 4, we're going to be setting up an IPython notebook server on AWS, which is pretty cool. So the first thing we have to do is we have to SSH into our instance again so we can install Anaconda. So same thing as normal, you just sign in to AWS. Click EC2. See that you have a running instance that's still there. Normally you can just write down your public DNS and then your username should be Ubuntu if you selected an Amazon machine image that was Ubuntu. If you're not sure what your username is again, just go to part 2 and you should be able to find out. So the thing we have to do now is open up a terminal and we have to SSH. So SSH, this I just basically says we're going to have a PEM file next. So Python tutorial, and then this is my private key. And then the next thing we have to have is our username, Ubuntu for me. And then I want to see what my public DNS is. And then I'm just going to copy that over here. And then I'm going to SSH into the instance. So now if you put in your working directory, you see that this computer I'm using for this video is a Mac. And before it says I was in Michael's MacBook, and now it's very clear I'm in Linux, so I SSH'd inside. Okay, so the next thing you have to do is you have to find the Anaconda distribution that you want to download. So what you'll do is you'll basically just go to Anaconda site, assuming I can find it. Okay, so here's the public archive of all the Anaconda distributions. And since the Ubuntu EC2 instance is Linux, I just copy the link address and I'll do something called wget, and this basically just downloads the file. And this will take a second because Anaconda is a big package. Okay, so now I want to see that it's there, and clearly it's successfully downloaded. So the next thing I'm going to do is do bash, and then the name of the file I just downloaded, and then just go along with the installation process. It takes a bit. Patience is always good. Here, let me maximize this so people can see. Okay, goes on and on. Okay. Yeah, keeps on going. Okay, so do I approve the license terms? Well, you have to say yes. Okay. So it'll be installed in this location. Press enter to confirm. Okay. So this takes a few minutes, and now you can see that Anaconda is installing on our instance. But we're not done yet. So what this does is it usually appends the path of Anaconda to our bashrc file. So while this is wonderful, normally you'd have to open a new terminal to use Conda. However, if you use source .bashrc in your terminal, it basically reloads your bashrc file and you're able to use Conda. And we'll see that in a second once this is done installing. There are a couple different ways that we could have done this. We could have used a WinSCP kind of method where essentially it's like SSHing into an instance, but you basically just download the file locally and then transfer the file over with a secure copy protocol, SCP, right? But this is not the most efficient, and as you'll see at the bottom here, sorry, I'm going a bit tangent. So it's essentially installing location in our bash.rc file. So we're going to say yes. And so now, if you just did any sort of conda command, like a conda update conda, to update the version of conda you install, it's not going to recognize it. So the first thing you have to do is source, and then .bash rc, and this updates our conda, and then like it knows that conda is there now, I should say. And then conda update conda, and we'll get the newest version of Anaconda. And yes. And now you've successfully installed Anaconda on your EC2 instance. Stick around for part 4. It'll be cool.